It's June, and that means the beginning of hurricane season. Are you ready? Hi, and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson. On today's show, we will focus once more on emergency preparedness. Also, health reporter Stephanie Strong tells us why it's important to rethink our drink. And then, in today's technological age, we find that our electronics quickly become obsolete. So Business Beat reporter Joanne Magley shows us that we can recycle those items with some help from a local business. And as promised, Community Information Director Dave Byron will be in the studio with part 2 of his interview with Volusia County Emergency Management Director Jim Judge. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. To make sure needy children don't go hungry when school's out, Volusia County again this summer is sponsoring a free summer food service program for children at dozens of schools, churches, and other sites throughout the county. The program, funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, provides nutritionally balanced meals during summer vacation when school breakfasts and lunches are not available. All children aged 18 and younger are eligible for the meals. The programs are approved for geographical areas where 50% or more of the children qualify for free and reduced price meals during the school year. Not only will the grant feed thousands of children, it will also enable the county to hire 25 temporary workers. The county's Community Assistance Division will oversee the program.
I just want to encourage those families that cannot afford the meal, feels like there's a cost involved. There's no cost involved. And we want to make sure that people are aware that these sites are available, and any child that's under the age of 18 can go to any of those sites and receive a nourished meal.
This year's summer food program will operate from June 8th through August 14th. The list of sites will be posted at summerfoodflorida.org in early June. For more information, please call 386-736-5956. Flying Daytona Beach International Airport is just plain easy, and it's also convenient for business travelers. The airport has a complimentary business center that travelers can use, which is supported by the county's Economic Development Division. The 720-square-foot center at the end of the concourse near gates 5 and 6 offers Wi-Fi, internet hookups, privacy desks with comfortable chairs, charging stations, and a printer. But Steve Cook, Business Development Director for the airport, said there's much more that makes flying out of Daytona Beach convenient for business travelers.
Well, we have a number of things at our terminal. We have very short walking distances from the parking lot back and forth to the terminal. Many airports don't have this. You have long lines. We don't have that. We have a very convenient security check-in station. The most modern equipment that the TSA has out there is available in our airport. We can get you through your security check-in easily, comfortably, in record time. If you have something that has to be surrendered to the TSA, we actually have a mailback system where we will send whatever the object is back to your home address at no cost to you. So we provide that. Down by the ticketing area, we have a weather and flight tracking kiosk, which is operated by Embry-Riddle. And that's open for the customer. You can see what the weather is and the destination that you're traveling to. We also have flight tracking, where if you know the flight number of the plane you're interested in, you can see exactly where it is in the system, when it's going to land. And so you have very, very exact information at your beck and call at Daytona Beach International Airport.
Daytona Beach International Airport also has a conference room on site for business meetings. The 3,000-square-foot Volusia room is the second level of the main terminal and features a 1,300-square-foot pre-function area, ideal for greeting arrivals and for socializing. For more information, you can visit flydaytonafirst.com and click on the Business Passengers tab.
Hello, I'm Reggie Santilli, and I'm a member of Volusia Eco Advisory Committee. The volunteer group works closely with Volusia County Council and makes recommendations on projects that enhance the quality of life for our citizens. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve in this capacity. If you would like to share your skills and serve your community, why not consider joining one of Volusia County's advisory boards? We have openings on several boards. If you want to make a difference in your community, please visit volusia.org/advisory.
When it's time to get a new computer or cell phone, what do you do with the old one? A new company in DeLand hopes you will consider recycling your old electronics. Joanne Magley has more in this week's Business Beat.
The Environmental Protection Agency estimates that more than 2 million tons of computers and other electronics are thrown away each year, but only about 20% of those materials are recycled. Michael Sohn, VP of Commercial Operations for Soonetec, hopes his company can help increase that percentage.
Soonetec is an end-of-life recycling company. Our main mission here is to collect and to accept end-of-life electronics, which could be laptops, desktops, cell phones, servers. And our main mission is to keep the items out of the landfill and to make sure that any data that is on the unit is destroyed. Any data that's in the hard drive is either wiped militarily or destroyed.
Soonetec began operations in January of 2015, but Sohn has been in the electronics recycling business for more than 35 years.
I originally started in this business in 1979 when computers were much bigger. They were mainframes. They weren't desktops. They were very big, large units. But there's always been a necessity to recycle, whether it be metal or glass or whatever. And so what's happened in the industry is there is so much of this product that if we throw it all into the landfill, we won't have room for anything else. And then all that material that we throw into a landfill really is a hazardous type material once it gets wet and it gets into a landfill.
When an item first enters the facility, it is triaged, then examined by the IT staff to determine if there's any resale value in it. This is the demanufacturing line, where techs take apart things like computers and cell phones and then separate them into various commodities.
We make money on the back end of the commodities, and we also make money on the resale of any items that can be resold. That's how we make money in this business.
Commodities include computer parts such as power supplies, fans, circuit boards, even the metal casing itself. If these items are deemed unsellable, they go into a smelter or to a company that will regenerate that product into a new product.
We're 97% landfill free, which means that most of the product, 97% of the product that we bring in-house, is dealt with inside the facility and then shipped out to another end user, not landfilled. We recycle shrink wrap, all kinds of plastics that come in here in the preparation for shipping, cardboard, wire. Like I said, everything we bring into this facility is parted out and recycled as a commodity, everything.
And even though Soonetec is a very new company, they expect to expand in the next 8 months to a year, which could include building a second facility.
I see this business growing because everyone has a computer, everyone has a cell phone, and that's not going to go away. Since we are a throwaway society, that is going to end up in the garbage. Hopefully it will end up here and not in the garbage. So I see this business going on forever and ever.
For the Business Beat, I'm Joanne Magley.
Getting enough water every day is important for your health. Healthy people meet their fluid needs by drinking when thirsty and drinking with meals. Most of your fluid needs are met through water and beverages that you drink. However, you can get some fluids through the foods that you eat also. For example, broth soups and foods with higher content such as celery, tomatoes, or melons can contribute to your fluid intake. Stephanie Strong has details in this segment of Community Health Matters.
Calories in drinks are not hidden. They're actually listed right on the nutrition facts label. But many people don't realize just how many calories beverages can contribute to their daily intake. You may want to rethink your drink.
Well, we all drink, and what we want them to do with this campaign is rethink their drink. So when they reach for that beverage, go with something that's nutritious, because sugary drinks contain extra calories, and you and your child do not need extra calories. Extra sugar can lead to diabetes and obesity. So the next time you reach for that drink, remember to rethink your drink.
Drink water or low-fat milk instead of sugary drinks. Have a pitcher of water cooled in the refrigerator so family members can drink water when they are thirsty. Nothing quenches thirst better than water. Water is naturally sugar-free and calorie-free. When you are away from home, bring bottles of water with you in a cooler or use insulated bottles that keep the water cool. This can also save you time and money. You won't need to stop to buy a drink. Serve 1% low-fat or fat-free milk for adults and children 2 years and older. Fat-free and 1% milk have all the protein, calcium, vitamins, and other nutrients of whole milk with fewer calories and less fat. Children less than 2 years of age should be given whole milk. Switch from juice to whole fruit. Many children drink too much juice and eat too little fruit. Limit 100% fruit juice to 1 serving per day for children and adults. Whole fruit has more fiber and fewer calories. Fiber helps keep you healthy. It also helps you feel full. Don't waste money on soda, punch, and fruit-flavored drinks. Most of these drinks are just flavored sugar water. Skip sports drinks and energy drinks. Most are high in sugar and low in nutrients, and energy drinks are loaded with caffeine. Most of the time, water is all you need to drink during or after physical activity. Watch out for flavored coffees, flavored milks, sweet tea, and shakes. Check calories for these drinks. You will probably be surprised by how many calories these contain. If you drink coffee or tea, order it plain and lightly flavor it yourself. Downsize. If you have a sugary drink, cut portion sizes by using a small 6-ounce cup. Infants under the age of 1, infants should not be given any sugary drinks or fruit juice. For more information about healthy eating and active living, go to www.healthiestweightflorida.com. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Florida Department of Health in Volusia County.
As always, if you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can log on to volusiahealth.com. Well, let's head into the studio to join our very own Community Information Director, Dave Byron, with his guest, Volusia County's Emergency Management Director, Jim Judge.
Well, thank you, Amber, and hi, everyone. You know, it's been 12 years since Volusia County was ravaged by 3 hurricanes within 6 weeks. That was 2004. The Atlantic hurricane season for Florida has been relatively quiet since then, but that having been said, Florida is the state that's the most vulnerable to hurricane activity. Hurricane season officially begins June 1st, and that means it's time to get ready, just in case one of those storms should come our way. Today we have with us in the studio Volusia County's Emergency Management Director, Jim Judge. We're going to talk about hurricane season and what you need to do to be prepared. Jim, how you doing?
Doing well, Dave. Thanks so much for having me on the show today.
Well, Jim, thanks for being with us again this week. Last week we kind of talked about the overall structure of emergency management and who does what. This week we want to talk about some specific preparation information because this is the beginning of hurricane season and this is the key. Preparation is the key to surviving one of these storms. Give us kind of not everything that should be in, but just kind of a general outline of what people should be looking at when they put that kit together.
You bet. But first, Dave, let me start with flood insurance. Find out if you need flood insurance, because if you sign the policy today, it doesn't go into an effect for 30 days.
Right.
So look at your insurance, your flood insurance. Do you need that? Talk to your insurance agent about your policies. What does it cover? What doesn't it cover?
Right.
But then we get into the individual family plan.
But on that flood,
Yes,
on
sir.
that flood insurance, Jim, I think a lot of people are not aware that their typical homeowner's policy generally does not pick up flood damage, correct?
That's correct.
and you don't have to live in a flood zone to get flooded.
That's correct. And a lot of people find that out the hard way, and there's nothing more heart-wrenching than seeing a family lose everything,
Right.
and then having it not be covered,
Right.
when a simple flood insurance policy would have
Right.
protected your possessions and your home.
So you said last week, Jim, that people to kind of ease into this, maybe do a little bit each week, maybe spend $25, $30 a week. What in general should they be thinking about when they put this kit together?
Well, Dave, the first thing that I think of is that you want to be informed in an event, and information is so important. What's going on, what is going on in the community. So that hand crank or battery operated radio,
Right.
so that you can tune into the local channels for that news and information
Right.
about what's going on in the community. Certainly after that, you're going to be looking at flashlights. And while flashlights are great for finding your way around in the dark, I like a good battery operated lantern.
Right.
So that you can put one in the kitchen, one in the living room, or wherever, to be able to really light the room up. I'm not a big fan of candles, because obviously they tip over, and
Right.
now you've got worse problems.
So have a nice battery operated lantern.
And you know what's amazing is that we've got flea markets, we've got a lot of places that you can go and you can pick up these things for next to nothing, a fraction of what they can sell in some of the stores. But the good news is right now I can go to a lot of the big box stores. I can get plywood. I can have it cut to the size I want. I can buy batteries and flashlights. I don't have to wait in line because the sun is shining. And that's the big thing, is to take the time to get these provisions underway so that you're not one of the people in line at the last minute, with 100 people in front of you panicking, trying to get some provisions before the storm approaches.
Jim, so we've been telling people that, the cavalry might not be there immediately, depending on what the scenario is, the severity of it and so forth. Responders may take a few days to get there. When you are putting your kit together, how many days of self-sustaining do you think people should plan for?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, I always tell people, how comfortable do you want to be? We always say about 5 to 7 days. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you've got 5 to 7 days worth of provisions, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Because if it's a small, like a tornado, then obviously we have the ability to use the surrounding resources to come in to help the community. But if it's a large situation where we've got a large hurricane, even a large tropical storm, it's going to affect a large geographic area, and a lot of people are going to need services, are going to need food and water. So everybody's affected. The citizens are affected, government's affected, our responders are affected. So we say to people, take the time to make the provisions that you need to weather the storm. And certainly at the top of the list is water. At a minimum, 1 gallon per person per day. But that's a minimum. Again, how comfortable you want to be. You can go out and buy these inexpensive 5-gallon jugs that you can keep them empty, and as a storm is approaching, you can fill them up. You can even, my wife is a big iced tea drinker, so we get the gallon jugs. I rinse them out, I let them air dry, put the cap back on them, and quickly I can have multiple gallons of water inexpensively and it lasts. In addition to that, then, obviously the pantry, peanut butter, canned meats, tuna fish, even some fruits are going to last for a few days to help, oranges, apples, things like that, to help sustain you. So, a lot of those types of things. But then again, don't forget about that, that manual can opener, because the electricity may be off and you might not have that electric can opener being able to operate. So, having the pantry, having the batteries, the flashlights, the weather alert radio, the water on hand is just going to be able to help you sustain yourself. And as Floridians, we're talking about hurricanes, and hurricane season certainly gets the most attention, but Volusia County is no stranger to wildfires, flooding, tornadoes. We can face any of those anytime during the year. So those provisions might come in handy in things other than a hurricane.
Jim, obviously, if there's a special need circumstances in a person's household, they may have an elderly parent, they may have someone that has special medical needs, whatever the situation might be. People with medical needs or special needs, they really need to take extra precautions.
Yes, sir, they do. And they can register with us so that we make provisions for them at our special needs shelter. And again, volusia.org/emergency, and you can register right online, or you can call our office, and we'll be happy to provide you with that information. We work very closely with our home health agencies, and many times the home health agencies are the ones that help us register the individuals out there that need that activities of daily living. They need assistance with medications, maybe oxygen, and those types of things. and we have 6 special needs shelters. They're all pet friendly, so we encourage people to sign up.
Jim, I want to talk about evacuations. You know, as we said last week during our interview last week, that the evacuation directive ultimately is made by County Manager Jim Deneen with input from a wide variety of sources. And we said that an evacuation directive is not made lightly, that if in fact there is a directive for folks in Volusia County to evacuate, they need to take that directive seriously because there's reason to believe that they could be in harm's way. So that having been said, when you plan an evacuation, Jim, generally speaking, how much time do you figure it's going to take to undertake that?
Well, that's a good question. You know, and we try to give people enough time to get, you know, complete the evacuation, get where they're going before the start of any tropical storm force winds.
Right.
So we're looking at about 48 hours that we want to be able to give people to get off the barrier island and in the low-lying areas in Volusia County to get somewhere safe. And a lot of our residents on the barrier island live in condos. And it's always the thought, well, I'm going to vertically evacuate. But the problem is that it might be a Category 1 at the first 3 or 4 floors. But once you get in higher elevation, it could be a Category 2 or higher because the winds are going to be higher aloft. So I think that oftentimes people don't factor that into consideration. And when we do advise to evacuate, we really want people to heed that advice. You don't have to look very far back to her tropical storm, or I'm sorry, Superstorm Sandy, where 1/3 of the people who died, who lost their lives, they drowned.
Didn't evacuate.
Many of them did not evacuate.
And we've seen in Florida previously, Jim, with the narrowness of the peninsula and the interstates going north and south, you basically got 2 of them, one on each side of the state. And when you put thousands and thousands of cars on those interstates, I guess the message there is just leave and leave early.
Well, it's the truth. You know, we want to evacuate while the sun is still shining.
Sure.
If you've waited till the wind is blowing, you waited too long.
Right.
And we can go back to even Hurricane Opal up in Escambia County, when, quite honestly, there was concern about pulling the trigger and evacuating. So they waited, and then finally they said, we need to go. So they put people in harm's way. A lot of people got on the highways, they got on I-10, and literally they were pulling people out of cars, putting them into any type of a refuge because it was going to be better than being stuck in the automobile. So it's so important that you know, that we do give people enough time to get off the barrier island, to do evacuate. But the thing about it is, Dave, is that oftentimes people want to drive 200 miles away. All you've got to do is go inland a little bit. You know, you can go to DeLand, you can go to Lake County, and we have 37 shelters in Volusia County. But one thing is that, you know, we call it the lifeboat, not a love boat.
Right.
So you're going to be much better to use an evacuation shelter as the absolute last resort.
Yeah, I was going to.
With friends, a hotel room, something like that. You're going to be much more comfortable than literally just a piece of, you know, asphalt or you know, on the floor of a high school. You know.
And I'm glad you said that, Jim, because that's constantly been the message every year that we put out, and that is, A, evacuate and evacuate early. But B, have a point that you're going to go to that is a non-shelter location, safe location, because in the long run you're going to be a lot better off doing that than potentially having to sleep on the floor with a very crowded condition. Can be very hot, can be very uncomfortable. You're going to be out of harm's way, but it's certainly...
peanut butter sandwich, you know, some water, whereas you can stay with friends or family inland and be so much more comfortable. And then, you know, you're together to weather the storm. And we always say, you know, you want to run from water and hide from wind. So even though you're going inland, you know, you're going to someone's home, of course we always recommend storm shelters, you know, that whether you buy the commercial type storm shelters or even go and get plywood, you know, 5/8 inch plywood is thick enough to be able to cover not only the window but the window frame. And you know, you want to hide from the wind, so you want to protect. If you've got a garage door that's a big double-sized, you know, 2-car garage door, you need to make sure that you take some precautions to brace that door, because generally when a home is destroyed, the wind gets in somewhere, and one of the weakest points of a home is that 2-car garage. And also, if you've got a large front door, the double entry doors that open inward, that is also a point for the wind to get in, so you want to brace that. But we have all this information available at the Emergency Operations Center. The information is on our website as well. We always love a phone call. and help any way we can to help people get better prepared.
Jim, we've seen in recent years, speaking of information, we've seen in recent years that people get their information today much differently than they did just 10 years ago, or even back in '04 when the hurricanes hit Volusia County. Social media today is you know, the way a lot of people communicate. What sort of social media messaging can Volusia County residents expect from the EOC?
Well, and that's the beauty of working with your folks, Dave, working with Joanne Magley and getting that information out there through social media, because Twitter is big, you know, putting information on our Facebook page. But Twitter seems to be the biggest way that people get a lot of information and share information.
Right.
So, you know, working with your folks to be able to monitor what's going on out there, as well as provide information through the social media platform is absolutely critical. And of course, as you know, Dave, we always say we've got one voice, one message. And that public information network that you created, that Joanne manages, to be able to bring all of our public information folks in together to make sure, whether it's the health department, law enforcement, or county government, municipal government, what message is it that we want to get out?
And a comprehensive website as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Jim, again, as I said last week, I'll close again this week by saying I want to wish you a very safe, a very quiet, uneventful hurricane season. It's okay if we don't exercise the new EOC. I'm okay with it.
Well, we exercise that facility all the time, but not real world. We do it for fun. We just, as you know, completed our annual hurricane exercise. Right. On an annual basis, we have anywhere from 5,500 to 6,000 people go through that facility, and anywhere from 450 to 500 different training programs, meetings, exercises, drills to be able to hone our skills. We've got a lot of people retiring, people moving up in different positions. So we want to make sure that everybody is sharp, ready to go, because, you know, the community wants the best, and we're going to give them the best we have.
Well, Jim, I want to thank you for sharing the information with us. Obviously, as we said, June 1st is the start of Florida's Atlantic hurricane season. It doesn't make any difference if there are 1 or 20 storms. If you had one your way, you had a bad year. So
yes, sir.
Really, preparedness is the key.
Yes, sir. Dave, thank you.
Our guest today, Jim Judge, he's the Emergency Management Director with Volusia County. And again, volusia.org is a source for comprehensive information, and you can get the number to call the Emergency Operations Center from that website. And with that, we'll go back to you, Amber.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a great evening.